This is Steve from Boxing UK in association with Supreme CBD. It's 5:52 in the morning, Enzo. How are you?
Yeah, cheers, Steve.
Enzo, we've literally just watched Canelo Alvarez sneak a win over Triple G. First of all, I have to ask you, what do you make of those scorecards, mate?
Fucking ridiculous, mate. If I'm a fan of both, and I was looking to give Golovkin rounds, but I think I had it 9-3, and I was generous. And if you look at them scorecards, Golovkin have another round. It's a draw, which is absolutely pathetic. But if it did happen, I don't think Canelo could have complained after the first fight.
He was never out of control, though, was he, Enzo? He cruised through that.
Mate, they're two elite fighters, but one is still elite, the other is not.
Yeah. How much do you think it was Triple G's age that caught up with him tonight?
There's a lot of it, mate. And, it's hard to say because I think Canelo is that good. He has these subtle movements with his feet. He's constantly twitching his shoulders, twitching his feet. He's throwing distraction shots with the one hand, hit the other hand. His balance is great. I can't speak highly enough of him, but he doesn't do that in that fashion against the GGG 4 years ago. It's all about timing. Golovkin obviously still fit for a 40-year-old, still strong for a 40-year-old, but the timing isn't there. And as you get older, it's not the punches you can throw. It's more about seeing them come back at you. And he knew that if he fell short, if he overreached, he would get countered by a young bull.
For the first half of the fight, Enzo, did you think it might have been a master plan from Golovkin, that he was saving energy, or as a boxer, can you tell straight away that somebody's? I hate to use the phrase flush, but
yeah, I thought he was hesitant. At first round, I give Golovkin the first round. It won a lot in it, but I thought he made Canelo miss. I thought Canelo was forcing it a bit too much. But you could see he was hesitant to throw because of the countering shots that Canelo can throw. He got fast hands. He throws accurate shots. So Golovkin was just hesitant to throw. And watching it, and I barely listen to commentators, but tonight the American commentators really done my head in. It was if Golovkin was 90 years old, and in fairness, at some parts he probably did look like it.
Yeah, I don't blame you for not listening to the commentators too much, Enzo. There's half of us couldn't hear the UK commentary on the zone.
No, I had the American. I don't know how to get the UK for some reason, but it was like certain things where I think it was one part. They said Golovkin's struggling with his feet, but in fairness, Golovkin's never ever had good feet, and I'm thinking, well, Golovkin's style is all about balance and distance, and those footwork he moves to slide in and out. So I don't know where they got he'd never been good with his feet from.
For Triple G, Enzo, do you think that's the end of the line for him, or do you think there's still enough in the tank to do something else?
It's hard to say because he was up against the elite, the best, the super middleweight. He's not a super middleweight. You can see the size difference on him in there. So it's hard to see. So you've got a man who's 40 years of age. He is past his best. We won't lie. He is past his best, but he stepped up to an elite level at a weight he's never fought at. So, obviously it was going to be a difference, but does he come back down the middle? What's the challenge out there for him? That I think that's the main thing. But I have heard he wants to fight in Kazakhstan. He wants to fight in Australia. So obviously he has goals and he wants to achieve them goals. And who really is there at middleweight to really trouble him?
And for Canelo and Enzo, would you advise that Canelo sticks it this way, or do you think he'll not be able to resist putting the wrong to right against Bivol?
He's a smart man. He's a smart camp. It wasn't a close fight. It was it was big. Although Bivol is very good, and he's an extreme boxer, and his style will cause someone like Canelo problems all day long. Weights matter, as we've seen tonight. Weights matter, and the weight difference will always have Bivol in front. So whether Canelo and his team want to go through with a rematch where they will have to change what they do dramatically to beat Bivol. But for me, Ramirez is the fight for Canelo. I think it's a great fight.
I have to touch on the judges again, Enzo, and it's a question that gets asked at least once or twice every year. What can we do with judging like that? Because to everybody else, that wasn't even close. So where does a 115, 113 card come from, and how can we address this?
Well, to be honest, mate, sometimes it's different. It's, as you know yourself, if you watch from a TV and you score in a ringside, you can get two different scores. You know, I've scored many a fight commentating and watched it back on TV, and I think to myself, oh my God, like. So the only thing I can think of is that if the judges are ringside, they should all be watching the TV, because you're getting all the angles. Because when you're at ringside, you can only see one version of what's happening. Someone else on the other side sees the other version. So sometimes you see punches the other's not seeing. But on a TV, on a monitor, you're watching all angles. So I think it's time that judges actually watch the monitors rather than the fight. So you get more of a perspective of what's going on. What can be done, that pretty much is the only thing. But, you know, it's hard to tell whether boxing sometimes, especially the judging, is corrupt or the judges are inept. And that's the hard part.
Indeed. Enzo, going to rattle through a couple of other ones before I let you go.
Go on.
Parker Joyce this weekend. How do you see that one?
It's a good fight. I think Parker's going to win the early rounds. I think he got the speed and the movement. But Joyce is like his nickname. He's a juggernaut. I think he's going to come on strong. I actually fancy he might get a late stoppage against Parker. You know, I know a lot of people slag Joyce off for his speed and his movement, but the man can fight. He's good at what he does. And he's got an endless gas tank. And if he can keep our pressure on Parker from start to finish, which he will, I fancy a late stoppage by Joyce.
You've touched on weights as well with Canelo. Eubank Benn, common consensus is that Eubank's too big. You agree?
Yeah, I do. It's hard one because I don't really know what that rehydration limit is. I'm hearing 5 pounds. Yeah. So, you know, if Eubank normally weighs 160 on fight night, or next morning, I think the rehydration clause is. Next morning, he would normally be about 172, 173. Judging by what has been said by this rehydration clause, he's only allowed to be 162, which is very detrimental to his health. So I don't know what the board are doing. Are they going to allow that if that is what is the case? But in overall, Eubank is just too big.
Last one, Enzo. You've got far better contacts than me. I know that you're still friends with Frank Warren. Does Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua happen this year, Enzo?
By what I can gather, yes.
Right.
I've already made an inquiry to the boss for a few tickets. Frank, you know, he didn't let too much on, but you know that is what they try to do. The contracts have been sent. I just think now it's up to Joshua to sign them and it's be done. And you know, it's a fight everyone wanted to see. It's not happening at the right time for me. Yeah. You know, I think Joshua should have a couple coming back, but it is what it is. I got to admire the balls on the man. You know, he's just come off 2 losses and he still wants to fight the best, who I think Fury is the best. So got to give it to him.
Good man. Enzo, it's just gone 6. Are you going to bed now, or are you going to the gym?
No, going to the gym. See the arm was coming on me, Steve. You know, I got to keep these up.
Enzo, you're a legend. I look forward to your motivational quotes today, fella.
Top man. Cheers, Steve.
Thanks, Enzo. I appreciate it again.
Ta-ra, buddy.
Take care, fella.